What's going on, everyone? Wanted to hop in here real quick to give you guys a comparison/review video of the Pickle Poppers Pop and Pink paddle. If you guys didn't know, Pickle Poppers is a brand that is based out in South Korea. It is designed specifically for women or for female players. Some of the attributes on this Pop and Pink paddle is that the swing weight is extremely low. Just from experience, I don't have any swing weight machines in my house, but just from swinging other paddles and swinging this one is very, very, very low. The other thing that I think makes this paddle unique is the smaller handle size. The circumference of this handle is 4 inches compared to other handles, which they're at like 4.1 or 4.2. All right, now let's talk about the performance of this paddle and kind of compare it to other paddles that I've used in the past. There are a lot of pros and cons of having such a low swing weight and such a light paddle. I think one of the biggest pros, obviously, is you're able to customize the paddle to however you like. You can add a ton of weight and still have the paddle feel super light, and kind of get it to that performance level that you are looking for. I think one of the biggest cons that I've noticed is without weight down here, and I think I have about 4 or 5 inches of 1 gram tungsten tape in the corners just to help with that stability. And when I'm referring to stability is any fast ball that is coming at you and you're hitting it with the paddle tends to twist, and having more weight down here tends to help with that twisting. And I feel like this helped a little bit, but I think it could still use a little bit more to help the twist weight increase a little bit. You want it to be stable so that way you're not doing an off-centered hit. The first paddle that I would like to compare the Pickle Poppers to would be the Rhombus Quanta. I used the Quanta for about 2.5-ish months last year, and I love this paddle. I think there was a lot of great things about this paddle, and with a tremendous amount of weight, this paddle is extremely good for what the cost is, for $99. And I think, the Pickle Poppers is very similar. I think the Rhombus Quanta definitely has a lot more put away power, a little bit more oomph on the drives and your overheads, whereas I think the Pickle Poppers does give you that power that you want or that you need, but it's not overbearing. And I think the Pickle Poppers was a little bit more controllable than the Rhombus Quanta at times. And I obviously, straight out the box, the Pickle Poppers is a lot more gritty, so this one can give you a lot more spin compared to the Quanta. The Quanta kind of just felt like a little, softer, whereas the Pickle Poppers, there's grit on the paddle. And in the world of foam paddles nowadays, I think everything gets compared to the Bread and Butter Loco, and I think, which rightfully so, the Bread and Butter Loco was one of the best powerful paddles of last year and even into this year. But I think when people are buying paddles, I think they automatically jump to how much power does it have. If it doesn't have enough power, then it's not a good paddle, and I completely disagree. I think there's plenty of power paddles or plenty of other specific power paddles that people want or are needing or looking for, and which is why I personally kind of like the Pickle Poppers. I think the Pickle Poppers gave me enough power, whereas obviously not as much power as the Loco, but I think it gave me enough. One of my biggest issues in my game is that I tend to overswing, and when I was using the Loco with such a powerful paddle, me overswinging with the combination of a power paddle, the ball just kind of always went out. Although the power felt nice and the power felt fun, it just kind of wasn't, I started to realize that this paddle wasn't really suiting my playing style. Now, who is this paddle for? I think really for anyone who likes a smaller handle, who likes lower swing weight, and who likes customizing their paddles. I think those 3 things are really awesome about this paddle. I played with it for about 10 games, and then I switched back over to my main paddle, the 6-0 Coral, and my arm has never felt so much sore in my life after that one game. And after playing with this paddle, I think I'm starting to realize that I like lighter paddles. I like the feel of having a lighter paddle. My arm hurts less, and I didn't realize how much the weight difference between the Coral was compared to this until I played with this, and then I went back to the 6-0 Coral, and that thing feels like a rock. Which is crazy to me because the 6-0 Coral is not even a heavy paddle in my opinion. It's just that this one is extremely light. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope that you find this, helpful when you're making a paddle decisions. I think in a world right now in pickleball that there are a million paddles out there, if I'm able to help one person make the right paddle choice, that would, I've done my job, and I kind of find this fun and interesting. I am no paddle reviewer, or I want to be. I kind of want to just give people my honest opinions on paddles that I've used, and kind of how that compares to the paddles that I'm reviewing. And so, if you guys enjoyed this video and you're interested in picking up the Pickle Poppers, you can use my discount code LOCK10 to save yourself 10% off, and I think it brings it down to like $145, which I think for $145, it's an excellent deal if those three attributes are what you're looking for in a paddle. So until next time, guys. Peace.